Have you ever thought about starting full-size slicing tomatoes indoors? That's what we're working on. Hello and welcome back to Kim's Cozy Corner. My name is Kim and we are working in the indoor grow space and we are working on tomatoes. Yes, that's right, y'all. I said tomatoes. I started two different types of tomatoes. And so I have some young seedlings here that are starting to yellow, so we got to do something with them. But I started two types of tomatoes. I started dwarf tomatoes, which only gets to about a foot tall at most, and they're cherry style tomatoes. And I started a couple different varieties. I started somewhere here. What is this? Orange Hat, and here's a picture of Orange Hat. Red Robin, there's Red Robin, and Micro Tom, and there's a picture of the Micro Tom. Those tomato plants stay very short, and they're, like I said, cherry style tomatoes. But I also started, yes I did, some full-size tomatoes. Yes, I mean slicers, like beefsteak slicers. And so I also started bush steak from Burpees, and here's a picture of the bush steak. And I started Tasmanian chocolate, and here's a picture of that. These are both bush style tomato plants. They get about 3 feet tall, maybe a little more than that, but usually between 3 and 4 feet tall. Some of them don't get above 2 feet tall, but they're dwarf style tomato plants. And so they're bush plants, but they're not determinate. Everything's not coming on at one time. They're indeterminate and semi-determinate plants. So they're going to make tomatoes over a longer period of time. And we are in the indoor grow space. And we will be putting those dwarf tomatoes in my GreenStalk today. So we are only focusing on the bush style dwarf tomatoes today. We will come back and we'll take care of those micro dwarfs at a later time because I'm going to put them higher up on this GreenStalk vertical planter that I'm putting together. And I need my bush tomatoes or the taller plants to be on the bottom. So that's what we're going to work on today. And above here, we're going to put our lettuce back on top of it. Just to do a real quick update, very quick. This wasn't supposed to be an update, but I want to show you my sweet bell peppers that I'm overwintering. Like, look at this, y'all. Look at that. And there's another one way up there. Probably can't see it, but there's one right there. But these are sweet peppers in this GreenStalk right here. And outside of peppers, all I got are my little young seedlings, and some of these we need to up pot, but we'll do that on a separate video. And behind me here, I have potatoes growing. So they've already broke ground. These are white potatoes. So these are purple Vikings over there, and I have two that have broken ground and one way back there that has also broken ground. And right here, these are white potatoes. I think they're Yukon Gold, but I'm not sure. I have one plant that's doing really well. I had one that got mushy and I had to get it out of here. And so I have one that I just replaced, and the other one is just starting to get happy over here, but it hasn't broken ground yet. And outside of lettuce, that's all I got so far. So let's get these tomatoes started. The first thing that I did here was bring in soil from outside. So I got to be careful about pests. I do have a few ants in here. And the last video I made, somebody asked, how do I deal with ants? Y'all, I just go get the little ant stakes and I stick them in here and I call it good. That's probably not the organic way, right? But that's how I deal with ants indoors. So I brought some soil in from outdoors, but I'm taking that soil and it was a little low, so I needed to add to it. So I added some additional soil to it. I use Happy Frog soil, potting mix, I should say, potting mix. I only use potting mix in here, and I use Happy Frog. And outside of the Happy Frog, I added in some fertilizer, some granular fertilizer, and here's the granular fertilizer, a picture of it. And I also went ahead and added some compost. I had a bag left over of organic compost, and here's a picture of that. So I added that to the top of this GreenStalk right here. And now I'm going to just mix it in, and the soil is extremely dry. And as far as other pests, I did see a few more fungus gnats than I really like to see. And I use Mosquito Bits, and I put that anywhere where I'm going to have water collecting in a tray or anything like that. That's one of the methods I've used. And again, it's not super bad yet, but we don't want to let it get bad. What else? What else? I haven't seen any spider mites or aphids, however you say that word, but you know what I'm talking about. I haven't seen anything like that yet, but if I do see it, we're gonna handle it, y'all. We're gonna handle it. I will handle it with whatever I need to handle it with, and that includes 7 and any other synthetic solutions. So I'm hoping I don't have to. I will try neem oil and some of those other type things first before I'll go to like a 7, but I will use it if I have to. I just prefer not to. I try to stay as organic as I can. I'm not perfect. Don't claim to be perfect, but that's what I'll do. So this is ready to go. Now, if I had some Mykos, which is a mycorrhizal, and it helps create that symbolic relationship with the soil and the roots of the plants or your transplants, but I don't have any, so we won't be doing that. So we are going to, and I these transplants, I put 4 in one container, right? This is like condensed planting because I travel a lot and I didn't want to have to water a whole lot of containers. So I have 4 in one container, and they're starting to get yellow, and I need to get them out of here into their own home. So we are going to put bush stake every other pocket. I have 4, so I can't quite go every other pocket. I tell you what, we will go, yeah, I want all 4 of these, so that's just not going to happen. We will do 2 on this side, and we'll do 2 on the back side. Put my little tag in. And I have many different varieties of tomatoes, probably hundreds of varieties at this point. But I can't put everything in here, so we are only going to pick and choose some of my favorites. So bush steak from Burpees is one of my favorites. And Tasmanian chocolate, it just did really well outdoors this year for me. So it was the first one I put my hands on, and so that made it good to go. When I'm planting my tomatoes, I am actually going to plant them pretty deep. I am going to plant almost all of it. I'm putting them pretty deep. I'm just going to leave a little bit out at the top. This will help make a stronger stem, a stronger plant when you kind of bury it all in there. Tomato plants have little hairs all along the sides of the plants. And those little hairs will all grab hold and create roots to give you a nice strong plant if you plant it deep enough. Now this is going to be the first year that I'm planting like slicers indoors. So wish me luck. If nothing else, it's an experiment and it was fun to do. But I already know those micro dwarf plants are going to grow very well because they always do. Now in my Tasmanian chocolate, I planted 4 seeds and initially only 2 came up, but now I got 2 little ones in there. So I am going to try to let those grow, let those continue growing. So if one of these don't make it, I'll have a couple more plants that we can choose from. So for now, I am going to try to separate this out. Look at the root structure. It's happy, y'all. Look, it's so happy. That root structure is so nice. But we're going to try to focus on just the larger plants. And we're going to put those 2 back in there. I'm going to have to give them a little more soil though. And see if we can get those to keep growing. And we're going to do the exact same thing with these Tasmanian chocolates. We're going to plant them fairly deep. Now, I could have let these tomato plants go even more weeks than this. I didn't have to put them in now, but whether I put them in now or I put them in later, they're going to do just fine either way, I believe, as long as I take care of them in this space. This should make them start growing faster because they have more room to grow. Y'all, they're in there. That's it. That's all I really need to do. Now they need to be watered in really well, but so does my lettuce plants. So let me pull the lettuce plants down. Once I get these on top, then I will show you the lettuce plants to show you how they're doing as well. We'll water it all in, and that'll be it for this short video. So let me pull them down so you can see just how well these lettuce plants are doing. They have been growing now for a week and a half in this container. They grew for 2 weeks in this container. So let me show you how they're doing. So the first thing I did was put the watering disc in. I lined the holes of the watering disc up with each of the pockets. And then we're going to set all of these lettuce plants right on top. And look at that. It's falling right in, looks like. Yep, there it is. It's in. Now, I've had these GreenStalks now going on 5 years. I mean, I've had no issues with degradation or anything like that. They're in good shape. The only thing wrong with them is I got some paint and some tar and stuff on them years ago that I can't get off on the outside, but there's nothing on the inside, so there's no poison or anything like that on the inside. But these are just as good as they were when I first got them 5 years ago. Where is it? 6 now. I'm just running out of my years all run together these days, y'all. But I have a total of 13 GreenStalks, and I brought in 2 last year, and I'm bringing in 2 again this year. And I love my GreenStalks, y'all. They have sales on their GreenStalks quite often, and we're getting close to Black Friday. So if you're interested in a GreenStalk, links are below, my coupon codes below, all of that kind of stuff. But I love my GreenStalks. So let me show you this lettuce. So like I said, this lettuce has been going now for about a week and a half in this container. And y'all look how green and pretty and big and full they're getting. I mean, this is looking good, y'all. We will be eating lettuce very soon. Some of this lettuce, I think, is like a 55 days to harvest on average. But you can harvest lettuce at any stage. But there's the lettuce. So as I talked about many times before, if you bring a GreenStalk indoors, you have to be a little concerned in how you water your GreenStalk. I capture any water that's too much that overflows from the GreenStalk into a tray. I just stick it right up under the little hoses here where the water is going to come out if there's too much water. And yes, I have my GreenStalks on an ultimate spinner, which you can get from GreenStalk as well. So we got our tray in place, and we are going to water this in, but the lettuce needs to be watered as well. So I'm going to start with the lettuce up top, because if I water and get all good down here and I go to water the lettuce, it's going to be too much water and it's going to run out. So we're going to start with the lettuce up top. I don't have the top watering tray on because I'm going to keep adding layers and tiers to this. In all, we're going to have 4. and I'm only at 2 at the moment. I will eventually get it on, and we will water from that top watering tray. But for now, we are going to just water each pocket very slowly. I can water just a little heavier because I know I need water in this bottom tier, but not too heavy. I guess I could have cleaned it up a little better. Boy, it's dirty. Whew. All right. So we will slowly give each one of these pockets just a little bit of water. The water is finally making its way down, but y'all, I don't want to wait. I prefer to overwater this top one. Let it run down. Okay, there we go. Finally got some dripping happening from this top tier. There are little holes around each one of these pockets in addition to the gray disc. And I am now starting to see water drip in between the layers. It's very dark, but there's water dripping in between each of these layers. So I know that now the tomatoes are being watered as well. So they're dripping from each of the pockets as well as from the gray disc. So that's it for the tomatoes. It's that simple. It's really, really that simple to start tomatoes indoors. And yes, I mean full-size slicers, y'all. We're going to have tomato sandwiches. We're going to have tomatoes for our burgers, all of that good stuff. If you enjoyed the quick update and the transplanting of the tomatoes, please let me know by giving me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. I garden indoors. I garden outdoors. I preserve my food. And I have always something going on at Kim's Cozy Corner. So, until next time, and I hope there will be a next time that you hang out with me, Kim, at Kim's Cozy Corner. Bye.